It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, opening.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Trosian, and this is RamView, the December 29th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. Click on that QR code. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, sports ball games make game day funner for you and your crew. Play sports ball, playing for a hill of beans or just jelly beans. All right, cool. We are in the house. Oh, wait, this is also brought to you by Game Day in the Ram Cave. Kid needs to sell some books. Rams Packers NFC Championship. You want to check this book out, soft cover and an ebook format. There we go. Okay, so I got it all in. Someone was asking, what do you have to do to cover the NFL? And I think I've done this one before. I know I've mentioned it and I brought it up because it's been asked before. Personally, guys, as you know, I cover the NFL in this capacity. I do not cover the NFL in the capacity that I am on site. However, my guys, Tim Peterson and Dwayne Barker, run Mid-Valley Sports, and they cover the NFL, and we all started together, and I can tell you how it started together. It started around my kitchen table back in like the year 2000, 1999. 1999, it was 2000. 2 laptops, 1 floppy disk, and dial-up connection. And the plan was to be ready when the Rams came back or the NFL came back to LA. And I can't tell you how many thousands of articles and games and everything those guys covered in that process to get there, that someone says, oh, I want to take pictures. They were upset because they saw, who is this individual? Was it Simone Biles was taking pictures of the last night's game. And they asked me, they said, man, look, she's out there. And I said, yeah, it's kind of a joke that she's there, but she's there because she's a celeb. And it's hard. You got to just grind and put in the work and put in the work. And when people tell you you suck, you still got to keep going to work every day. I think all of us at one point in our jobs we've been told we suck. And the truth is, great, we suck, but we're going to keep going to work. Those dudes from Mid-Valley Sports, I like to think I was a little bit of a part of that. That's what got them to the NFL. So that question is out of the way. Michael Negretti, Manny, thank you so much for joining us. Rams need to play this thing out. They got to secure the 5th seed and likely get the NFC South winner on the road. And I believe we need Frisco to beat Seattle, right? Because if Seattle loses, then we are still 1 game behind them. I think so. So we would be the 6th seed, and that means going to Philly. So I think we're rooting for Frisco, right, next week. And I'd much rather go to Carolina or Tampa Bay, and I'd like to see Frisco win anyway because I'd rather go to Fog City. Weather is a little less severe, and it's an opportunity to break Fog City's heart, who, as Ram fans, I think we despise more than we do the Seattle Seahawks, if I can get an amen on that one. All right, let's look at this right here. Michael Negretti, the wild card Rams. They put themselves in that position. Do you realize if the Panthers beat Tampa Bay, that all 4 teams that the Rams are going to be in the Rams' way, or amongst the other 6 in the Rams' way getting to the Super Bowl, are the 4 teams they lost to? Should have beat Carolina, should have beat Philly, should have beat Seattle, should have beat Frisco, and all the shouldas and shouldas and couldas and didn'ts. You know what that got the Rams? It got the Rams in the position they're in now. I don't think it's necessarily a horrible position, but at the beginning of the season, you know, what was the low end? What was the high end? I remember I said low end, Rams 11-6, high end 13-4. I just didn't think if the Rams finished 13-4, it would only buy them a third place finish in the NFC West. But apparently, that's what it's going to look like at the end of the year. 13-4, 13-4, and think about that: 13-4 when, my gosh, you could have been 17-0, right? I mean, whoa, it's just crazy. Manuel Vasquez, 6-game winning streak starts tonight. It needs to start tonight. Absolutely. It really does need to start tonight. ESG, since we're not getting the bye, at least let's secure the 5th seed. Amen. Preach. I'm all there for that. Okay. Thank you, Manny. We have the tiebreaker over Seattle, so they would be the 6th. Okay, good. That keeps us in line with the AFC South. I don't want to go to Philly, and I don't want to go to Chicago Chicago to open the first round of the playoffs. I'd like to build up a little momentum. Let's see here. ESG, we want the Niners to lose. They own the tiebreaker against us. Well, at this point, right? Yes, I think so. If they lose, they'll have 5 losses. If we don't lose again, we'll have 4. So I think we're in good shape. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe was partying like it was 1999. He was smashed last week. Oh, it was car that was smashed. Yeah, my car got smashed. Don't park in front of your house. ESG, how about Philadelphia having only 17 yards of total offense in the second half against a Buffalo team that's not great defensively, right? You never know what you're going to get with Philly. You just never know. So I imagine if you're a gambler, it's hard to figure them out. And if you're a Philly fan, it's doubly hard to figure out what your team is going to do. And I look at Frisco last night, and I think I said it before. I don't care about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy doesn't scare me as a Ram fan, but he was great last night. He is Fran Tarkington with a better arm. I think I've said that last year. I was right about the 49ers having injuries, but what I was way wrong about was I was expecting them to collapse. Trent Williams didn't get hurt until last night, right? And so he played the whole season, Trent Williams did. Christian McCaffrey played the whole season. Younger guys went out. Backups went out. They went out, but not those two. And I give Kyle Shanahan credit. They want to make him coach of the year. Make him coach of the year. I'm all good with that. 49ers, they had one of the easiest schedules in history. They beat everybody they were supposed to beat. Rams handed them one. And so good for the 49ers. Rams got nobody to blame but themselves for everything. Every loss the Rams have, they have nobody to blame but themselves, right? So Carolina beats Tampa. Then again, like I said, all 4 teams the Rams lost to, Panthers, Frisco, Seahawks, Eagles, will be in the playoffs. And what an opportunity, not only to win 6 in a row, but a redemption tour, right? Go back and set things right. I want everybody we lost to, right? I want Carolina, and I'm a Baker Mayfield guy, but I want Carolina first. I want to smoke them, and then I want to get my hands on everybody else. Philly, Frisco, Seattle, no matter where, because I'm in this. To me, this is the season for breaking hearts, and I want to break some hearts big time right now. Let's see. Who do we got here? We got Michael. We want the Seahawks to win against the Niners. I don't want the Niners to have home field throughout the playoffs. I really don't care too much because I think we can win in either place. We have won in either place. But I think, we're going to be on the road no matter what. I'd rather play that last game in Frisco just because the weather isn't as bad as it can be in Seattle. But the other aspect of it, too, you think about it, who's going to be more upset, right? The Seattle fans are used to losing. The Frisco fans still have this weird thing that they're special. And I just want to drive home the point they're not special anymore, right? There we go. Manuel Vasquez, the wild card teams are going to have 2 NFC West teams. So I think the wild card games will be better than most division winners, as the 5th seed, the Rams, could get a home game. That's possible. You know what? Great point, because it's in my notes right here. Can't you see? Let's think about this. I think the Bears are a better team than the 49ers. And they let the 49ers off the hook, right? I think the Packers had the game won against Chicago. They had the game won. These are young teams. And then in Seattle, they got Sam Darnold. And now one of those teams, Seattle will probably get the bye, we think, if they don't. But I think one of those teams, one of those three teams can be a one and done. Philly scares me, right? I'm sorry. Philly scares me because Philly's going to find a way, right? And they've been there before, right? The Packers, they're kind of just hanging on. Everyone's kind of happy right now what they're getting, and maybe they won't be super disappointed. Parsons is out, Jordan Love is out, whatever. But I don't think that's going to be as huge a disappointment. Carolina, I get the feeling Carolina is going to be satisfied. They'll say they're not satisfied, but they're going to be so happy they won the division and happy to be there that they'll do the old team spirit thing, the yearbook rah-rah that, hey, we made it to the playoffs, and that fighting Panthers spirit will be back next year. And so I think they could be a one and done. It wouldn't surprise me to see one of these teams, Seattle, Chicago, one of these teams just, boom, get bounced early. Because you're right, there are some good teams. You got the Rams and let's just say Frisco as wild card teams. That's pretty good, right? And I don't know, there are times I was watching Malik Willis. I don't know how healthy he is right now. I was watching Malik Willis this weekend, and I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, that guy's kind of scary. ESG, thank you for holding on. The 49ers are unlucky because of injuries, but lucky for their schedule. Not only did they get Rivers and the Colts, they had the Bears team that was riddled with the flu. I will push back on one thing. That's not Rivers' fault. Rivers, they were so lucky that Rivers showed up without a defense, right? There was no defense there in Baltimore, in Indy. Otherwise, Rivers would have beat them, right? Again, I expected the Bears to expose the 49ers last night, and they didn't. And maybe it was a flu thing. I did have a vision, though. Who was the edge rusher for the Bears? Was it Hooker, that came around and chased Brock Purdy behind the line of scrimmage, and Purdy at the last minute ducked? To me, all I saw in that moment, I'm going, my God, that's Leonard Marshall and Joe Montana, and it's 1990 all over again, right? He looked like he was going to get crushed, but somewhere along the way, some one of the football fairies spoke in Purdy's ear to bend over a little bit and not take the force of that hit, because that looked like Leonard Marshall, Joe Montana all over again. Trent Williams did get hurt. It took him 17 weeks to get hurt, but he finally got hurt. Let's see, Mr. Burns, we have to go through San Francisco and Seattle, so I prefer San Francisco first. I want redemption tour. I want them all, right? I want them all. I'm like Capone. I want you to find those fancy boy 49ers, and I want them dead, right? I want the Seahawks dead, right? I want Philly burned to the ground. I want to go to the cemetery and on their ashes. There we go. Not that I'm bitter. Just spiteful. ESG, I'm so glad we finally played tonight. It seems like we haven't played in 2 months. The 49ers have played 2 games since our last game. I like the bye, more time, or that somewhat bye, more time to get healthy, heal up, and be ready to play. Now, here's the thing. With all that said, again, the Rams need to burn down Atlanta tonight, right? If they thought Sherman was rough on Atlanta, we really need to rough up Atlanta tonight. The Falcons have shown that they can get up for the better teams, right? They beat Buffalo, but they're bad, but they're also dangerous, right? Could the Rams blow them out? Yeah, the Rams could easily blow them out. Could they lose? I hate to say it. Yeah, the Rams could lose. But here's the thing. I think Atlanta's going to pay the freight of the Rams' anger after Seattle. I think probably the worst person to have been around at Rams Park these last 11 days was probably Sean McVay, because he was probably privately telling his team, you suck, right? You suck. You didn't finish. And I would be really surprised if the Rams squeak this one out, or if they lose, then I'm just going to enjoy the ride for the rest of the season, because this loss tonight, if they were to lose to Atlanta tonight, would be more disheartening than any other loss. Probably as disheartening, probably like the Jets loss back in 2020. It would just take all the starch out of me if they lost this game. And if they lose it, right, that's it, right? And I will say this, though. I do think the Rams are going to come out strong. I think they're going to come out hard. And if the Rams dominate tonight, they're going to cause hearts to melt in the NFC, because all the focus was on that great showcase with the 49ers and the Bears. Everyone's watching the Seahawks, and Sam Darnold's not playing well. Sam Darnold is not playing well, and all that attention's up there. And then they're going to watch the Rams tonight. If the Rams could drop a 40-burger on Atlanta, I'm not saying they will, but if they drop a 40-burger on Atlanta, hearts are going to melt. No one's going to want to play the Rams, right? And that's what we want. We want that fear going ahead of us. Alaric Jackson with a questionable knee. He likely plays if he's listed as questionable, but the Rams brought AJ Akiri up from the practice squad, which means the Rams could be looking at some depth. And DJ Humphries, who's only played one snap this year, he's the big insurance policy. He might get some action tonight. Josh Wallace is out. Roger McCreary has been activated, and the Rams have brought Tanner Ingle up from the practice squad. Kevin Dotson is out, so Justin Diedick will be filling in at right guard. Great utility guy. I'm really happy we got Justin Diedick there. The Falcons like to blitz. We know how the Rams do with that. That's good news. So, again, what's the baseline here? The baseline is real simple. Make Kirk Cousins' life miserable. If you make Kirk Cousins' life miserable, you don't have to worry as much about Drake London and the rest of that receiving core in Atlanta, right? Make his life miserable, and Bijan Robinson, limit him in his big plays, right? You limited all these other big running backs. Limit Bijan Robinson, and he's going to bust one or two, maybe one. Just give him one, but just rough up Kirk Cousins, and the Rams should take this game. Currently, the Rams have the 11th overall and the 27th overall picks in this year's draft. All right, cool. A lot of you guys have joined us. Thank you so much. I'm Joe Tarosian, sports writer for 20 years, and now I get to do RamView. Boom, here we go. Let's see here. Peo is in the house. Peo's got a show probably coming up because he always comes here first. Let's see here. Michael Negretti. Pittsburgh suck, right? Steelers fan, Rob. They lost to Cleveland. Break a leg, Aaron Rodgers. DK Metcalf did himself in. Darnell Washington busted an arm. TJ Watt's a long shot next week. And if I'm the Ravens, I start Snoop Huntley because I think Snoop Huntley is a better version of Lamar Jackson than Lamar Jackson is these days. All right, there's Peo time. Happy game day. Game day, man. Absolutely. Glad to have you here. All right. Do you have any vibes on this game tonight? I feel like it will be close. I think Atlanta has the weapons to beat the Rams, but I got to believe there's going to be such anger and such bitterness about that last loss that they're going to fear McVay a lot more than the Falcons. And I think the Rams will come out and play well. I think I'm not really making a prediction if I say, hey, it could be close or it could be a blowout. But, you know, Falcons are real down boys, huh? They want a piece of this world too, buddy boy. I want the victory, but if it's a weak victory, I'm not going to be feeling good coming out of it. Manuel Vasquez, if the Packers upset a couple teams, they couldn't end up in the NFC Championship game against the Rams like your book, which I'm enjoying very much, Joe. Nice job. Manuel Vasquez, right there. Manuel Vasquez is in the house. Rams-Packers, NFC Championship game in SoFi. It's set up that if the Rams should face the Packers in the postseason, they'd have to play them at SoFi. Manny, you're so cool. Thank you so much. Let's see. Peo time. Let's see what we got here. Haha. Glad you preach grace, Pastor Joe. There you go. Okay. ESG, what I really meant to say is we've had to sit on this Seattle loss for a while. Absolutely. Absolutely. Too long, and that should make the team real edgy. McVay turn into the Grinch. I hope so. I really hope so. Animals with horns. Go Rams. Can't lose to Kirk Cousins. Animals with horns, thank you for joining us. I don't know if you've been with us before, but thank you for being here. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Paul, I hope the Rams don't play down to their opponent tonight, which is a nasty habit the Rams do have. Manuel Vasquez, Rams are putting a beating on the Falcons tonight. It'll be the game that finally convinces the Falcons to fire Morris. There we go. And then Shula leaves. We bring Raheem back, and somebody else hires him in 2 years. We get 2 third-round picks. ESG saying hi to Peo. Peo saying hi to his friends. Just getting ready for the watch party. All right, let's see here. $5 Steve. Rams need to draft Iowa center Logan Jones. He's off my radar right now. I looked at some draft hype today, but if he is an offensive lineman from the Big Ten, I'm down. I like my offensive lineman from the Big Ten. We got a great undrafted free agent at left tackle from Iowa as well. So from your lips to God's ears, man, the football God's ears there, Steve. Let's see. Animals with horns. Feels like the Rams have not played in weeks for some reason. Yeah. I don't know. That loss in Seattle still feels fresh, doesn't it? It still stings. It still stings. ESG, I'm expecting a statement game tonight. That's what we want. We want the statement game. Okay, I'm cross-pollinating here. When the spies went into Jericho before Joshua and the army struck, they went to Rahab's house, and Rahab says, we heard about what you did, and our hearts melted with fear. That's what we want the Rams to do. We want them to melt NFC hearts with fear. Everyone's focusing on Chicago. They're very chic, very very cool now. The great story of Frisco beating everybody that's actually nobody, and Seattle, luckier than a drunk gambler picking up a chip and throwing it on the table in Vegas, right? I want a statement game myself. I hope it's a statement game. Let's see. Payo time. I hope in Kyron's, for a Kyron statement game. You got some fantasy football riding there? I don't care how it happens. I'd love to see a Ronnie Rivers breakout. I want to see 10 sacks, right? I want to see 10 or 12 sacks. I want to see a bunch of turnovers. Actually, if the Rams can score 44 points on defense, then my fantasy team wins. That would be good. Do the Rams rest anybody next week? Not until the game is over, right? That's a divisional game. We saw, now this one's in SoFi, but we saw when we went to Phoenix a few weeks ago, they came out for 2 series and played really hard, and the Rams broke their will. We need 6 in a row. 6 in a row. 6 weeks of hard, 6 football games in 7 weeks, right? Because we got the break before the Super Bowl. No, I wouldn't rest anybody, Bill. I just wouldn't. Payo time. Let me get my Bible out. Okay. I usually don't do that, guys. Animals with horns. Blew the Rams' horns around the walls of Jericho. I like it. There we go. So on the 7th sack, we charge. There we go. Manuel Vasquez. The only thing that worries me about this game is we might be missing 3 O-linemen. McClendon has been doing a good job, though. I don't consider Havenstein being missed anymore. I love Havenstein. Great career. If they worked out something where he signs a 1-year veterans minimum or something really inexpensive to stick around, be a backup and a mentor, I'm all for it. His only problem is he's just purely a right tackle. So I think this is the end of the line. I think we found our guy in McClendon. So I don't think of 3 guys being out. Kevin Dotson is gone. Justin Diedick, right? Very flexible all along the interior there. Feel good about that. DJ Humphries is a pro. He's a pro's pro. And he's healthy. He's healthy. What was thought about him in KC last year was that he came back too soon from his injury and just wasn't ready to go. That's why he struggled. He should be healthy. This is an insurance policy the Rams are going to cash in if they have to tonight. And then maybe because nothing looks serious. If Larrick Jackson finished the game last week, he's listed as questionable. Maybe if we're talking about a starter getting a day off, maybe we let DJ Humphrey start in week 18 against his former team, the Cardinals, at left tackle, and just make sure Alaric is fresh. There we go. Good point, though, to bring up. Payo time. No, I don't have fantasy football concerns. Really just love Kyron to outduel Bijan. Okay, let me just say this. If the Falcons offered you Bijan for Kyron and a second rounder, would you take it? Bijan Robinson is really, really good. Really good. Let's see here. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, the front D-line needs to create chaos, and McVay needs to step on the pedal when having a big lead. Quit playing conservative. I want to see some Terrence Ferguson. I want that momentum seems to be building, and we want to see more of that. Let's see. Good to go. Have a great game. All go Rams. Payo time. Thank you, Payo. Payo, sometimes I think we've been talking about doing a crossover show. Let me know. I think you got my email. Have a good time tonight. Up in Toronto, stay warm. All right. Yeah, I'm Joe Terosian. I'm a sports writer for 21 years. I still contribute to Mid-Valley Sports, but I do RamView now. They cover the Chargers. I get to do the Rams thanks to Kistler Law. Be sure to check out Kistler Law. Get the compensation you deserve. Click on that QR code. I can't tell you how important they are to us. And, of course, sports ball games. It's going to be running down after the football season, but with these games coming up, a lot of fun to play sports ball game. If you're looking for a way to bring your crew together on game day without gambling stress or fantasy overload, try sports ball games, free pick'em and squares, live leaderboards and bragging rights built in. One click and you're in, no fees, no spreadsheets, no headaches. Just sports fun for you and your whole crew to enjoy. Whether you're cheering from the break room or the backyard, sports ball games makes every game day a team event. Play for fun, brag for real. Dropping that into the house here. Join sports ball games. There we go. Boom. All right, cool. Let's see here. And of course, game day in the Ram Cave. Be sure it's a fictional account. Rams playing the Packers in the NFC Championship game. And really what the inspiration was for this book that people ask is, I can't tell you, I don't know if I come across as a jerk here, but I am a jerk about who I watch the game with. I would prefer to watch the Super Bowl with the Rams alone on a 13-inch black and white TV than on a velvet cushion at a sports bar with a bunch of friends around. I've told people that aren't Ram fans, I don't want you coming to the Ram Cave to watch the Super Bowl with me. It's just one of my things. And I don't like riffraff. And people become riffraff when they show up to a Ram game that I'm watching, and they're not there. They're there for the commercials. They're there for the fellowship and the hanging out time. I don't want them there. And so basically the genesis of this book is Rams in a big game and people trying to come into a fictional version of the Ram Cave and screw everything up. And so that was the inspiration for that. So wanted to get that out there. Appreciate your support and your compliments on that. Also, another book, since I've crossed over and shared my day job here, Sin Virus. Think Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Walking Dead meets Christian faith. Kind of a violent book, but I got some good reviews on it. Be sure to check that one out. Soft cover and e-format on Amazon. All right. Let's see. Paul, there we go. Boom. What do we got here? Wasn't Steve Bartkowski the Falcons quarterback and later with the Rams? Yeah, Steve Bartkowski was. Steve Bartkowski threw that pass to Alfred Jackson in '80 that gave the Falcons the NFC West, sent us to Dallas that year. We lost 34-13. And he finished with the Rams in '86 when I was kind of excited when we got him, but his knee was shot. And by the end of that year, Jim Everett was the Rams starting quarterback. Too bad we couldn't have got Steve Bartkowski a little bit earlier. You know, there was a time there, Steve Bartkowski lost his job temporarily to June Jones. Competent backup, better coach. Could you imagine if the Rams could have found a way to have pried Steve Bartkowski from the Falcons in 77 or 78? Help me, right? All that missed opportunity. Speaking of that, though, Bob Lee was a Falcon quarterback who led the Falcons in 73 to a 9-5 record. He ended up with the Rams in 79. I think he was with them through 1980 off and on as a backup. He was the insurance guy. He was also generally with the Vikings that beat the Rams 14-7 in the Mud Bowl, which celebrated its 48th anniversary earlier this week. Also, Hugh Millen, drafted by the Rams, 3rd round. They traded up to get him. I got a bad Hugh Millen story that I don't want to share in terms of what the Rams gave up to move up in that draft to draft Hugh Millen. And, of course, he was put in the street not too much longer after that. Ended up in Atlanta and then played some games there in New England. But yeah, so there's some cross-pollination there. Norm Van Brocklin, Rams Hall of Fame quarterback, Norm Van Brocklin. I think he was the first head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. And in fact, he used to take shots at the Rams, called them the prune pickers, and hated Norm Van Brocklin, but I didn't know the history of Norm Van Brocklin. So yeah, you bring up a good stuff there. Paul. See you on your page, Peo. Man, and make sure you guys mention me on Peo's show. I'd like to get a little love there, man. I'm doing all this promo. ESG, I have a feeling that Game Day in the Ram Cave has an excerpt of the wife asking who the Rams are playing in the Super Bowl, the Yankees. No, not that bad. Not that bad. Yeah. No, I did make a joke about Taylor Swift not knowing that, Lynn Dawson was a quarterback and not a singer, and along with Taylor Swift. Anyway, let's keep pressing on here. Let's see. Coaches on the hot seat. Todd Bowles loses this game to the Panthers. He's gone. Pete Carroll's got to go. Raheem Morris, I don't think he gets fired at the end of this year. I think he gets fired midseason next year. Looks like Mike McDaniel is going to stay. Mike Tomlin may walk. I know Steeler fan Rob is posting stuff that he wants Tomlin fired. Jonathan Gannon at the Cardinals, he's fired. Dan Quinn, I think, is going to make it. And Zach Taylor, I didn't look at his contract, but look at his contract and see where how much the Bengals still owe him, because if they still owe him a dime, they're not going to let him walk for free. Marcus Freeman announces that he's staying at Notre Dame. So good for him. I do like Marcus Freeman. I'm sure $5 Steve is really happy about that. Colin Cowherd is now on Brock Purdy like he's his boy. And I can't tell you how often I sat through that show and heard them talk about how Brock Purdy wasn't good enough. And now Brock Purdy is good enough. And it just kills me, because I made that argument about that Super Bowl between the 49ers and Chiefs, that Brock Purdy did everything he could to win that game, but Kyle Shanahan in the fourth quarter stops being a Shanahan and becomes Rich Kotite. He always blows it late. That's what cost him that Super Bowl, not Brock Purdy. Mike Florio reporting that TJ Watt is a long shot to play this week. Darnell Washington has a broken arm. DK Metcalf is suspended. And you just got Aaron and the Miracles. I like Snoop Huntley, and I would just pound the ball to Derrick Henry. Let this be the last hurrah, the last ride of his career. It just feed him, and let Snoop Huntley do it. Snoop Huntley, like I said, is a better version of Lamar right now than Lamar is. Lamar Jackson hasn't looked good all year, right? And you don't want to put a position where you're trusting him to throw from the pocket, because he's not getting out and he's not breaking away any long runs. Go with Snoop Huntley. I don't care if Lamar's healthy. He can come in if someone's hurt, but his run is done. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I will say this. Doesn't it seem like Seattle is cruising? And this goes back to my theory that someone's going to get popped early. Someone's going to – the 49ers are going to run into a real team. The Bears are young. And the Seahawks. Sam Darnold's been getting away with murder the last 3 weeks to a month. And Seattle feels like a team that's going to go out there all full of vinegar and just fall off a cliff. That's what it feels like to me. And hopefully we're the one that pushes them off the cliff. There we go. Back to Snoop Huntley. I thought him and Malik Willis looked anything but like backup quarterbacks on Saturday night. That was a real enjoyable game. I hope Willis isn't too banged up, but that was a really fun game to watch. Lambeau, it's always a fun game to watch, right? NFL should have a rule. No more dome stadiums, right? Tell these owners, This is how football looks. This is football at its best, not sanitized. Amen? Amen. All right. So what else that we had that rolled in here? Boom. Oh, there you go, Bill. We also had Chris Miller. There you go. We had Chris Miller that last year in LA and that first year in St. Louis, and they had Jerome Bettis and they couldn't make it work. Isaac Bruce was a rookie. Yeah, good call. Chris Miller. Yeah, there we go. Manuel Vasquez. Since we can't win the division, next year we'll get a second or third place schedule, which will be great as Super Bowl champions. Oh, good call. Good pull there, Manuel. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's really nice. Absolutely. Good for us. I said at the end of 23, the Rams Super Bowl window if Stafford stays is 24, 25, and 26. And the contracts are still lined up for that. It's all up to Stafford. So I'm not writing off this year, but that window if Stafford comes back is still open in 26. And with a second or third place schedule, nice. I'll take that. Tim Burns, Rams 40, Atlanta 17. You know, Mr. Burns, I was predicting some low-scoring games, and you've been predicting higher-scoring games. So I'm going to lean with you. I go with you, Hefe. That's where I'm going. All right, $5 Steve. Rams had 5 great quarterbacks past their prime. Namath, Burt Jones, Bartkowski, and Dan Pastorini. Hey, let me ask you this in regards to Dan Pastorini. I was never sold on Dan Pastorini. I like Lynn Dickey better, okay? They were both in Houston at the same time. I think Pastorini was first round in 71 and out of Santa Clara, and Lynn Dickey was third round out of Kansas in 71, and they ended up settling on Dan Pastorini. Could Dan Pastorini have been good enough to get the Rams over the hump in 77, 78, 76, 7? We like Ferragamo, but 79. Could he have been that guy to get the Rams over a hump? That's a great question to ask. You guys let me know. The great Tim Burns. DK got sued for $45 million for slapping the fan and claiming he is a racist. 2 expensive decisions. Yeah, man. Sometimes you just got to walk away, right? You just got to walk away. DK Metcalf, man. He's DK Metcalf, right? He giveth and he taketh, right? ESG in the last 2 years, the Rams have improved in the playoffs. They are doing what you call putting in the work. Seattle and Chicago haven't been in the playoffs in a long time. There you go. I think, again, this Rams team, this coaching staff, this is a team that, they've been through the wars, right? They understand it. They've been knocked around. They've knocked people around. And I think that's to their advantage, where I think Carolina, Chicago, Seattle, I think, hey, look, we're here. And there could be that big fall. Absolutely. Willie Bowen is in the house. Willie, thank you for being here. LA Rams will clip the wings of the Atlanta Falcons. Horns up. All right. Rob Sorge and Raul Salas, thank you so much for joining us over from Facebook. All right. Manuel Vasquez. What do we got here, Manuel? Boom. 3 of the 4 teams the 49ers have lost were to top 10 scoring defenses. There's 4 of those teams in the NFC playoffs. They're getting booted early. I was disappointed, and maybe it was the flu. Maybe it was the emotion coming off the Packer win. But I really thought the Bears would beat the 49ers last night. I don't bet, but if I had to bet, I would have bet on that easily, and I wouldn't have bet that it would come down to a play at the end of the game. I thought they would have beat them. I just don't believe in the 49ers. I mean, I give them full props for winning the games they're supposed to win. I give them full props for staying, Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey staying healthy. I think they're cruising for a bruising as well. Willie Bowen, 42-9. Oh, yes, preach. I'll take that one. Counterfeit Clone, great to tune in live for the first time in ages. I always miss your show when it airs. You know what, man? Counterfeit, thank you so much for being on. It's been crazy because of the scheduling. A lot of primetime games for the Rams, those Thursday night games. I don't like to go live on Monday at 5 because of Monday Night Football. It's just been crazy. I will, when the season is over, probably have a set schedule that you can rely on. Like today, Today I wouldn't go on at 5 because the Rams are playing. So that's why I came on at 3. You guys understand. I appreciate it, but it's great to have you so much. Thank you. Brian Smith, Peo, will you be live tonight? Peo has left. Peo says he's doing a watch party. Just make sure, Brian, that you got that information from me and that you let Peo know on his show that you got it from Joe T at RamView. That would be nice. Brian Smith, I have the Rams 24-21. Can that be a late touchdown? Rams are up 24-14 and they get a late touchdown in the last play of the game, right? Willie Bowen, you left out Steve Bartkowski. We actually talked about Bartkowski a little bit earlier in the show. Vanilla McKay. Oh, boy. Vanilla McKay. Take it easy. Take it easy. All right. There we go. Tim Burns. DK is the next wide receiver to lose their mind, following Ocho Cinco, T.O., and Brown. It's the coddling. If somebody shuts them down early, then I don't think you get it, right? I don't think you get it. It's going to be really interesting to see George Pickens, what happens to him, what Dallas does with him. If George Pickens was serious about changing his rep, he would tell Dallas today, hey, man, franchise tag me and I'll stay. But no one wants to be franchise tagged. He should say it because he needs to change his rep. Franchise tag me. I'll stay. I'm committed here. There we go. Michael Negretti. Billy Joe Tolliver is a good football name. The Billy Joe Tolliver was a lot of fun to watch. He would. I didn't see the old AFL. I saw highlights. I read books about the old AFL. He would be an AFL quarterback, just a guy that just goes out there and slings it, right? Playing there for the Saints. Him and was it Billy Joe Hobart from Washington? Yeah, I think they were both with the Saints at the same time. Let's see here. Hola, Manny. What's up, Brian? Okay. But did Tolliver start with the Chargers? Maybe I'm wrong. Him and John Freeze. $5 Steve. On Pastorini, Steve is answering when I suggested, could Pastorini have been the guy if the Rams had him in 76, 77, 78 to get the Rams over the hump? On Pastorini, Steve says, I think so. He just had Earl Campbell and got the Oilers to the AFC title game, and Mike Renfro was in bounds. He also had Kim Burrow, right? Mike Renfro, was in bounds, definitely. Rams beat Houston in Super Bowl 14 if Mike Renfro is declared in bounds. There we go. That was 79, I think. Yeah. $5 Steve. 49er opponents win is 0.438. Yeah, we did that breakdown they've had 3 monster wins. Bears, Seahawks, Rams. 3 of them, right? Took the last play to beat the Seahawks or last play to beat the Bears. They got lucky against the Rams, and they caught Seattle in week 1. So, yeah, I'm not completely sold on them. I am sold on Brock Purdy. Brian Smith says, happy Christmas to Willie Bowen. Willie Bowen, referees rigged the LA game versus the Sea Chickens. There we go. Manuel Vasquez, McCreary is back tonight. Quentin Lake next week. The secondary is getting much needed boost. Wallace is out tonight. Josh Wallace is out. And so they brought up Tanner Ingle for depth. Thank you, Brian Smith. You let Peo know where his bread is buttered. There you go. Thank you so much. Brian Smith. McVay, not McKay. Pastor Joe, face screen smile. Okay. My bad. I got you. I blew that one. Let's see. Everyone's saying hi. Billy Joe Tolbert sounds like something out of a Varsity Blues movie. No one remembers Billy Joe Tolliver? Billy Joe Tolliver, he hung around the NFL through most of the 90s. He was pretty good. Not great. He's not Snoop Huntley. Let's see. And Counterfeit Cologne. I feel you, Peo, and a Rams Showcase would do a great show together. If anyone wants me, I'm the small fish in the pond these days. So I don't know if anyone wants to hang out with me. These guys are bigger fish, although I got good sponsors. There we go. Let's keep rolling here. Ravens improved to 11-5. They beat the Chargers. Chargers are 11-5. You look at the AFC here. Look at this real quick here. We know who's playing for the fourth spot. It's Pittsburgh and Baltimore, right? And we know in the NFC on the right here who's playing. It's Carolina and Tampa Bay. But imagine this, okay? Let's just say Steelers get in. Steelers get in. If you look at the 5, 6, and 7 teams, they're all 11-5 right now. They're all 11-5. You can even say if Baltimore gets in. So your reward for getting in is, if it stands the way it looks right now, you'd get the Texans. You'd get 4 versus 5, and it would be the Texans versus the Steelers or the Ravens. Chargers you might have a chance with because everyone's so banged up, and the Bills you might have a chance at, but I think the Bills are going to be okay. I think the Bills are going to pick off a win in the postseason. And so that 4th seed, man, I think that based on who they have to play, and the Texans are on fire right now. Jaguars are on fire right now. That AFC is going to be a bloodbath. There might not be much left by the time we get to the Super Bowl, which makes me happy for the Rams. Brian Smith, Tolliver, red hair. Yeah, he had red hair. Hit the likes chat. Yeah, guys, hit the likes chat. Please help me out. Thank you, Michael, for looking out for me. Let's see what else we got here. I want to see Xavier Smith and Jordan Whittington get their first TDs in this game. I know you've been talking about it quite a bit, man. You've been talking about it quite a bit. All right, cool. I think everyone's gone over to watch Peo, but let's see here. Let's just run through the outcomes this week. Ravens at Packers. Man, Malik Willis. I was so impressed with him. Seahawks at Panthers. Seahawks won. Darnold didn't look great. Cardinals at Bengals. Bengals won. Steelers at Browns. Bad look, but yeah, the Shador pick was awful. Steeler fan Rob is really upset. He doesn't want Myles Garrett to get defensive player of the year. Jaguars at Colts. Man, the fact that Phillip Rivers made it interesting. No one bags on Phillip Rivers here. Buccaneers at Dolphins. I'm sorry. Yeah, that game. I was stunned the Buccaneers lost that game. Patriots at Jets. We no surprise there. Tyler Shough is wow. He could save this franchise. What they have to do, though, is they have to nail those draft picks because they didn't move off Kamara. They didn't move off DeMario Davis. They didn't move off all those expensive guys they have, which I thought they should have. And if Tyler Shough is their quarterback, they could use, I think they're projected to pick 6th right now. They could really do a lot to reignite that franchise. Giants, Raiders, what a nightmare. Yeah, Pete, you're gone. Eagles at Bills, enjoyed the game, felt a little slow. It was sloppy. It was rainy. I loved it. And yeah, I would have gone for 2. I thought that was the right call. Bears at 49ers, very frustrating, rooting for the Bears. Purdy's good. And there were throws that Caleb Williams made last night that were off the charts. All right, cool. I think we got it all in. Real quick. Oh, we do have this. Let me get this in here. I know you guys are
stone groove, my man.
Here we go. On this date in 1974, the Rams lost in Minnesota 14-10. Rams had 3 turnovers in the first half, moments where James Harris looked great, then not so great. Harold Jackson made big plays. The ball inside the 1, and Pat Curran false starting. Jackie Wallace tipping a pass, and Wally Hingelberg getting the interception in the end zone. Bogus offside call on Fred Dreyer that converted into a Dave Osborne touchdown. And the Chuck Foreman fumble that bounced forever and the Rams couldn't snag. This was painful. I remember this day clearly when I was a kid. And if it seems like I haven't gotten over it, you're right. I haven't gotten over it. Tomorrow, December 30th, 1970, Rams fired George Allen for the 2nd time after the 1970 season. Rams missed the playoffs. So they had a 9-4-1 record. Happy birthday to former Ram quarterback Carson Wentz, who turns 33. He feels like he's been around a lot longer than that. 1979, tomorrow, is the anniversary of the Rams' 21-19 Billy Waddy play, where the Rams beat the Cowboys 21-19, ended Roger Staubach's career. And then the Rams, and watershed day for the Saints on December 30th, 2000. Rams lose in the wild card game to New Orleans. It's New Orleans' very first playoff win. 2001 on this day, on December 30th, Rams beat the Colts 42-17. 2002, on December 30th, Rams beat the 49ers 31-20 on Monday Night Football. And the Rams also beat the 49ers December 30th of 2018, 48-32. All right, I think we got it all in. We went over 50 minutes. Well, thanks for the guys that hang out with me. And if you hung out with me and you had to leave early, you wanted to go hang out with Peo, go ahead. All right, real quick questions here. Let's pop this one in. Michael Negretti, Parkinson needs to go off tonight. I want to see them all go off, man. I want to see them all go off. I want to play a team that lost to the Dolphins for our first round opponent. Yeah, and you know what? You get the Buccaneers. If you get the Buccaneers, you get Baker Mayfield, who's not healthy. You can see he's not healthy, right? He hasn't been healthy since the Ram game. Manuel Vasquez, Rams number 1 in both SOS and SOS and SOV for playoff teams. Just goes to show with ease. Oh, strength of schedules. Okay. And with easy schedules can do for other teams. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Manny Vasquez, Rams 38, Falcons 20. All right. I'll take that too. $5 Steve. I thought the Rams could have won versus the Vikings in 74, but should have won in 76. Yeah. The bitterness will never leave, will it? And Tim Burns wishes us all a bad butt day as the Rams go. All right, guys. I think we got it all in. We will, we'll go watch the Rams play. And thank you for hanging out with me. Thanks for having fun. Go check out Peo. And we will see you maybe after the game. I don't know. It depends what kind of mood I'm in.